We need it. Welcome back to Habitat Kitchen. I'm Andrew Beauchamp. Today we're making one of my favorite recipes. It's this simple pineapple syrup, which I like to make pineapple soda out of. But you can also use it to make delicious cocktails. And you get an amazing byproduct out of this recipe, which is this dried pineapple candy, which I love to snack on, maybe a little too much, but stay tuned so you know how to make it. So to make this syrup and the candied pineapple, first ingredient you need is a pineapple. How do you tell if a pineapple is ripe and good for this recipe? First off, the color. You can see how it has this kind of goldish color to it. It's a great indicator that it's ripe or gonna be ripe soon. The next and biggest indicator for me whenever I'm picking one up from the grocery store is the smell. I can smell it just from right here, but if you have one that's not so ripe, you can smell the bottom, especially if you're picking it up from the grocery store. Smell the bottom of the pineapple, and if it smells sweet or very fragrant like a pineapple, that's ripe and ready to be eaten and cut. This one has been sitting on the counter for a few days, so this one's very ripe and definitely needs to be cut. Let me show you how I cut it. I'm cutting a bunch of pineapple or any sort of produce. I have a compost bowl right beside me, so I can just throw it in there. Now first thing I'm gonna do, take off the head. So let's do like that. Beautiful, you can see, oh, it didn't cut quite deep enough. Then we're gonna take the head off, put it there, flip it, cut the bottom off. Beautiful. Easy is just I cut down one side, remove, turn, and I just go all the way around. You can see how ripe this one is. And then for this recipe, all I do is just, you can see pineapples always have the core. That's the core. See that little round piece right there? I don't want the core. The core's hard, tough, not good, but it is still full of flavor. So I'm gonna leave it intact. I'm just gonna cut down it around the core. So I'll cut down this way, almost like when you're cutting an apple. Then I'll turn it, go down, put that there. Same thing on this side. And I'm just gonna cut it into chunks. So after you're done cutting your pineapple, you're gonna want to freeze it. I know you're thinking, well, why am I gonna freeze it if I'm just cooking it into a syrup? So this helps for two things. First, it's gonna help release those juices inside the pineapple, which you want those juices to be inside the syrup so you have more of a stronger flavored pineapple flavor in your syrup. The next reason why you wanna freeze it, you know, pineapple's not naturally, it's a tropical fruit, so it can't hold up to cold temperatures. So what happens to the cells, basically they burst, and whenever you cook it, it helps make them more squishy. So whenever I go to candy them, it's going to be more kind of, it's not going to be as chewy and as fibrous. It's going to be more of a clean texture. And I think it's kind of worth the extra step. So I went ahead and actually cut up 3 pineapples last night, and I froze them. So now I have a block of frozen pineapple. And as you can see here, I kept the cores because there's a lot of juice in there, and I want that extra flavor to go into my syrup. But the ratio for this is every 1 medium pineapple, you need 2 cups of sugar. So I have 3 pineapple here. So I need 6 cups of white sugar, or you can use cane sugar. I haven't used any sort of anything like honey before, so I don't know how that would taste. But feel free to give it a try and let me know how the results are. So what I'm gonna do is in my big pot, I'm going to layer the sugar and the pineapple on top of each other. It doesn't have to be perfect. I'm going to start with these cores, put them directly into the bottom. And I'm just going to put some more pineapple chunks on top of that. Just cover the bottom. And I'll break apart these things. And then I'm going to put in a little bit, probably a quarter of the sugar. And put in some more pineapple. And now I'm going to put another third of the sugar on top. Save the rest for the top. Take this, put in the rest of this pineapple. There we go, beautiful. And the rest of the sugar. You're going to want to just cover the pineapple bits. So I'm just going to fill this up with water. Mixing up everything. Just like that. I think that's perfect. That's a good amount. And I'm going to give this a very quick stir. Kind of break up all those chunks in there. Beautiful. You can see there's still some sugar at the bottom. That's okay. Because now we're going to turn this on. I'm just going to cook this on medium heat until it starts boiling. And I'll come back to it then. This is boiling. Now all I'm going to do is just dig out those cores and just bring them to the top. Once it's at a boil, you're just going to let it continue boiling for the next half an hour to 40 minutes. And every once in a while, give it a look. It's not something you're going to want to leave alone. So you can see that the liquid has reduced a lot. The pineapple's starting to look a little bit more translucent. And I would say it doesn't need much more cooking. It's been in this hot syrup for about, I'd say about an hour and a half now. But it is looking delicious. And the smell, oh my God. What you need to do with this is just put a lid on it. Let this mixture cool together. So what I'm going to do is I put the lid on it. I'm just going to put it on the stovetop to let it cool overnight. And we'll come back to it tomorrow morning. Good morning. And let's continue on this recipe. You're going to want to get some sort of strainer. And you want to place it above your pot. And you want to scoop all of these chunks of pineapple. Try to shake off as much of the syrup as possible. And pour it into the strainer. Now hold the strainer over the pot because this will get messy if you don't. That's all the fruit chunks. There we go. Now I'm just going to leave that in there for about a half an hour. Just make sure that the bottom of your strainer isn't hitting the surface of the syrup. You don't want this to be sitting in the syrup. You want this to be hanging over it so it can drip as much of the liquid out of these cubes as possible. Put the lid on there and just leave it. I took the bits of pineapple and I put them into this bowl. And now all we have left in this is this beautiful golden syrup. But I'm actually going to reduce this a little bit further just so I don't have as great a quantity and I can use less syrup. Reduce by about a cup and a half just to concentrate some of those flavors and the syrup itself. And then you're going to want to let it cool in the pot till it's a workable temperature where then you can then put in either a mason jar. I'm personally using a glass bottle with a rubber flip lid. I find those work great. And then your next step is to label your product, which is just putting a little tag or a sticker on it that says what it is and when you made it. Please don't forget to label your food. It is very important. It's a way to reduce waste in your home also. And for the pineapple, okay. This is the real like multiple choice. And totally put this in a container in the fridge and it'll last for quite a while. It is covered in sugar, so that is the preservative in it. What I'm personally going to do is I'm going to dehydrate it and make almost little tiny pineapple candies out of it. So it's also a great opportunity if you wanted to put a message out on Facebook and ask people who, if they have a dehydrator that you can borrow for a weekend. It's one thing, you don't have to buy a dehydrator. As long as you have one person in your family who has a dehydrator, you have a dehydrator too. So I just took my candies out of the dehydrator and they're perfect just the way they are. But I'm going to go a little step further and I'm actually going to toss them in some granulated sugar with a little bit of citric acid just to help intensify that fruity flavor. If you add a lot of citric acid, it's not going to intensify, it's actually going to make it sour, almost like a warhead or another really sour candy. So give it a try, give this recipe a try and try. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching and don't forget to like and subscribe. And I'll see you next time. Cheers.